time. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink Terasaka. Just kidding. I don't always do a pre-trip and a post-trip every single day. I do them, just not like clockwork every single day. The most important time, I think, it is to do your vehicle inspections, at least on your trailer, is when you're picking them up and potentially dropping them off. That way you don't pass a problem on to the next guy. Even if you don't want to deal with the problem, if you're dropping it off in a place where somebody can fix it before the next guy picks it up, then, let somebody know. I know a lot of times people just pass the buck and pass the problem on to the next guy because they don't want to deal with it. Anyways, I usually end up being the guy who gets stuck with it. I don't got a problem fixing it. I just got a problem with the last guy passing the problem on to me. Now, the reason I say the best time to do a vehicle inspection is when you're hooking up to a trailer, at least, especially with this kind of trailer, or tire hookup setup thingy. See, this has the automatic air system where it'll automatically air up the tires for me. So it'll equalize the air pressure and all that stuff. I ain't got to do anything, which is nice. However, if I didn't check the tires before I put air to it, I wouldn't know that this tire has a leak. Now, it wasn't totally empty, but, and I don't know exactly how empty it was because I just thumped the tires. But this one here was low. So something's wrong with it, and I need to have it addressed or have someone have it addressed. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't do my vehicle inspection while doing my drop and hook. If I'd have checked it going down the road, in the morning, in the evening, or when I usually do it is when I'm stopping for fuel. That's when I usually do my tire checks, is when I'm fueling, which is almost every day. I wouldn't have caught that because it would have had plenty of air. I wouldn't have known it had a leak. So checking it before you put air to it is the best time to check it. That way you know. So I know that tire needs to be addressed. Now, because of the way the system is, I don't have to be like, oh, I gotta go get it addressed right now. I can do it later. But I know it needs to be done. I'm not gonna pass the buck on to somebody else. I'll find the time to stop and get it done somewhere along the way. But it's not like 911. So, yeah. Just thought I'd pass that information on. Not a lot of people know about these automatic air systems. I didn't know about them for a while because they're kind of new. Not a lot of people have them on their trailers. The ones that we used to have on our trucks and trailers were what we called cat's eyes. I think that's what they were called. And other ones like it, where they would balance the air pressure between the two tires, but it wasn't hooked into the axle and your airline system, where your airline system will air up your tires to the appropriate air pressure. That's kind of new. I don't know how new, probably 5-10 years old, but it's kind of new. I started seeing it about 5 years ago. So not everybody's got it on their equipment. I mean, this company don't have it on their equipment. And this company only have these are super singles. So this company has it on their tires. But yeah, it's fairly new. But anyways, yeah, so always check your tires when you're doing a drop and hook, especially if you got this kind of system. Like I said, I normally do my tire check when I'm fueling, and I check my oil when I'm fueling, and then I do other stuff on my pre-trip or post-trip. I typically only log a post-trip, but I randomly inspect my stuff on the regular. I'm always looking at my tires. You know, when I'm loading or unloading, I'll look at you know, my equipment too. So I don't just drop and hook a lot, and I don't bump docks a lot. I usually actually unload my own loads. So while I'm waiting for the load to unload, I'll be doing a walk around, checking my equipment. And that's usually when I notice things, because I spend more time doing it because I got nothing else to do besides just checking, keep an eye on my load and checking my equipment. So that's usually when I do most of the paying attention to my equipment. So, you know, everybody's job's different, everybody works differently. But you know, as long as you're paying attention to your equipment, that's all that matters. You have your routine. The government has their routine that they want you to abide by, but as long as you're doing it, and you're doing it on a regular basis, however it is that you do it, you know, like say, if you're loading and unloading every day, and you do your pre-trip and or your post-trip while you're loading or unloading, you don't need to do it at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. You may have to log it legally, but you technically don't need to do it at the beginning or the end of your shift if you're doing it throughout the day. So, yeah, everybody's different. Just as long as you're doing it, that's what's important. That being said, at our last safety meeting, they said that with all this AI technology and cameras everywhere, we're gonna have to start doing our pre-trips and post-trips like we log them, because if we get in an accident and the courts subpoena any records and your logbook says you're doing a pre-trip or a post-trip, but the cameras or the AI systems and whatnot are saying otherwise, that'll go against you. So you got to watch out for that. Technology is cool, but it's also not cool, and you got to watch out for the not cool parts. So there's that. Like I said, I don't always do my pre-trip or post-trip like I log it, because I'm doing it throughout the day half the time, because I'm usually loading or unloading at least once a day. I'm usually fueling at least once a day. I don't drop and hook a lot, but I just did today, so that's when I do my walk around, make sure everything's okay. And I found a flaw that I didn't catch before because I had air pressure to this air system, and the tire was aired up. So I didn't catch that before, where I caught it this time, because I did my pre-trip differently, my vehicle inspection differently than normal. So there you go. Anyways, that's my tidbit for today. trying to have some more positive videos. I've been a little grouchy lately. I've been under a lot of stress. For those who are curious about how much money I'm making, I quit trying to keep track of all the details. There's too much work and too much stress. So now what I'm doing is I took my beginning mileage for the year and I keep track of my mileage throughout the weeks, and so then I get my pay stub and I match up my mileage for the end of that pay stub period, subtract the mileage from the beginning of the year, and then do my calculations on my year-to-date earnings. Now that doesn't exactly give me my cents per mile, but it gives me pretty close. That's counting my per diem, it's counting my holiday pay, it's counting my detention time, it's counting my tank watch pay, which I never really get anyways. Usually I just get detention, breakdown pay, a layover, that's rare. Usually it's detention, which is also kind of rare, and then holiday pay, which is equally rare, but 6 times a year. But so it calculates all of that in, and right now calculating all of that in, and that's by the hub mile, not by the computer mile, I'm making 70 cents per mile. So if I factor all those other things to be about 10%, then, and I haven't gone in to see how much percentage difference that is, because that's just more work and more headache, then it's probably close to 70 cents per mile computer miles. So give or take, I'm making approximately 70 cents a mile. So I'm not doing terrible here. I just feel like I'm working harder for the same amount of money. And but the good thing is these guys don't balk or bitch about my home time. So there's that. HMD, they only wanted me to take a day and a half off, 34-hour reset. They wanted to get me home Saturday night and have me out Monday morning. Well, my town where I live is a ghost town on Sunday. Ain't nothing happening. The only thing I can do is do my laundry and do some grocery shopping. That's it. Can't get nothing else done. And I got other things that need to be done. So, and of course then they lied to me and said I could have 2 full days off, and they would never hardly ever give it to me. We're here, I make 5 cents a mile less, but I don't have the home time hassle. So there's that. So I'm gonna try not to complain, try not to let it bother me. I'm doing okay. I could do better, but I'm not doing bad. So I'll just stick it out for at least a year, and meanwhile try to find something better. But they always say the grass ain't always greener on the other side. So you take what you can get. And these guys, like I said, they're not horrible, they're probably not great, but they're somewhere in between, and I should be happy with that. So I'm just taking whatever money I can make, putting it into dividend stocks so I can make money on my money, and then I don't have to worry about it. So, and I'm doing decent on my dividend stocks. So there's that. So I'm just going to keep doing more of that, focusing on putting money into dividends, dividend stocks, and then I'm going to start living off my dividends. Then I can find something more local, or I could be home more and not have to worry about it. So that's my plan. Anyhow, but I'll let you know more about that later, because I'm still learning about that myself. I've only been doing stocks for about a year. I've probably been doing dividend stocks for about 6 months, because I didn't even know about dividend stocks a year ago. But now I do. And so now that's my main focus, is learning dividend stocks. And so as I learn, I share my information. You can go to, you can search Kano-stocks for my stock YouTube. And I also have a Discord and a, what's that thing called again? That thing I had with HMD. Anyways, chat group. I have a stock. I have that for stocks as well. Although I found one that's probably better, and I joined theirs, so I spend more time there than I do on my own. But hey, I gotta learn so I can share the information with you guys. So there you go. All right, party on.